Welcome, everyone. We thank you for joining. Once again, we are the Product Success Team. I'm Rodney.
And I'm Lex.
In today's session, we will be going over the latest version of the Aldelo KDS, or kitchen display. If you have any questions, please keep your questions related to the topic at hand. Please keep yourselves muted during the presentation. However, if you do have an immediate question that cannot wait, you can ask your questions in the chat. Otherwise, we will open the floor for questions as we transition and also at the end of the session. And you can unmute yourselves at that time. So earlier this year, we previously covered this topic. However, the Aldelo KDS user interface has changed since then, if you haven't noticed, and it does have an updated view. Changes were made to improve item visibility and workflow, and also to accommodate for the new features released in the past couple of months. One change that was made was to no longer use a formatted layout. You can no longer define the number of columns or rows that the orders are displayed. Under the old layout, depending on the maximum number of orders displayed and how many items on an individual order there were, items within the order were not always visible. To remedy this, the new Aldelo KDS user interface incorporates dynamic sizing for displayed orders. Order window sizes are based on the order details. So the smaller the order, the smaller the window. The larger the order, the larger the window. With this layout, you have a full view of the order and the items within, including all the modifiers. Now, there are tabs that display the status of submitted orders. Those statuses are Fire, Prep, Future, and Completed. The Fire tab displays orders that are ready to prepare. The Prep tab displays hold items that are soon to be set to fire. The Future tab displays both pending courses as well as hold items that are yet to be moved to the prep period. Having orders displayed under the Prep and Future tabs, cooks can now view upcoming orders or items and start prepping before they're ready to fire. And this keeps pending orders separate from active orders. One thing to note, these tabs are only present when there are orders or items that fit that criteria. And lastly, the Completed tab displays orders that have been completed and bumped from the Fire tab. In previous versions, you could access completed orders by tapping on History. In the Aldelo KDS management, the settings have been simplified as well. There are no longer any drop-downs, so all these settings are visible. And with options like order layout and note color being missing, there's a lot more streamlined. There's one new setting that will allow you to have hold orders or items reflected in the Prep tab when the hold time is within a defined range. You will see this when Lex goes over the demonstration. Now, as I mentioned, the Aldelo KDS user interface has been changed to accommodate new features. These features are currently only available with Aldelo Express running on iOS. The new Aldelo KDS supports coursed orders. Again, the course items that are pending show under the Future tab. Cooks can get all the ingredients prepared until manually fired from the Aldelo Express application. Now, we just gave a training on sub-modifiers last week. The new update has been redesigned for modifiers and their sub-modifiers to be easily viewable and distinguishable within the order. Okay, so the device setup nor the cloud setup has changed. If you've already set up a customer with KDS or have your own test environment, there are no settings that you have to change on the cloud. But we'll go over it again for those of you who are not familiar with the setup. First, download and install Aldelo KDS from the App Store. Aldelo KDS is currently only available for Apple iPads. The next step is to register your Aldelo KDS device or devices. You will have to set a device number and KDS number. Like physical kitchen printers, you can register up to 20 KDS devices. They can be used in conjunction with the physical kitchen printers or replace them altogether. When this is done, the initial device setup is complete. There will be more optional settings within the manager settings that we will get into in the next slide. The next step is to configure the settings on the cloud. These settings do not have to be performed in a specific order, but these first two steps are required. That first step being enabling KDS integration for the device or devices that will be sending orders to the Aldelo KDS. In the device configuration on the cloud, the KDS integration is not enabled by default. This will need to be enabled in order for the Aldelo Express device to view the kitchen display button in the hardware setup screen. And the other required step is to disable the auto hold release feature. If this feature is enabled, hold orders or items will not populate the prep or feature tabs. So this will need to be disabled. The last step of setting up the KDS routing is dependent on the number of KDS devices that will be used. If the restaurant is only using one KDS, this setup is not necessary. All you have to do when registering the device is to have registered the device as KDS number 1, because when the items are created, by default, kitchen display 1 is already enabled. However, if you have multiple KDS devices, you will have to route the items to the designated stations, meaning if KDS 1 is the grilling station and KDS 2 is the pizza station, you will have to change the routing so that the pizza items are then sent to KDS 2. Then if you're also setting up an expediter device, the items will need to have that KDS number enabled as well. Okay, so next is the hardware setup. So we're going back to the Aldelo Express application at this point. And this is going back to the enabling KDS integration step. So when the integration is enabled, it results in having the kitchen display button present in the hardware setup module. And when tapping on the kitchen display button, the Aldelo KDS device on the network should show as an available device. From there, the KDS connection can be tested and set as a connected device. And if connecting to multiple devices, it is the same procedure for those. Now, when we configure the KDS settings, there are a few important settings that we will cover. The first of which is the user types. Now, the KDS can be set up as either the line cook or the expediter. The line cook type is the basic setup and can stand alone as a KDS. And there is the expediter device. It is dependent and cannot stand alone as a KDS. It does require the use of a line cook to bump items, which are then sent to the expediter device. The expediter device is monitored and managed by an employee who then ensures the timeliness and accuracy by communicating with the staff. And they're also responsible for the organization of the order prior to its presentation to the customer. The next setting is the display mode. Now there's the checks view, and is previously named traditional mode. And it shows the order and all the items within the order. And if this mode is selected, there's an additional setting where items added after the original submission will add onto the existing order or start a new displayed order altogether. Then there's a consolidated view in which the items will display individually. However, same items with same modifiers and notes can aggregate together if submitted within a defined range. Then there are the text sizes. On the previous versions of Aldelo KDS, when set to traditional mode, the defined text sizes formatted all the text within the order, and the consolidated mode did not have options to edit the text sizes at all. With the new interface, when set to checks view, you can define text sizes for the order type, order level info, and order details all individually. The consolidated view as a whole also has the option to edit text size there. Then there is the auto range orders into prep tab when timed hold is within X minutes. What this setting does is move orders or items that are on hold and currently in the future tab into the prep tab when the hold time is within the set time. An example of how this setting works is, let's say we set a time to 15 minutes. An order, or maybe sometimes items within the order, are pushed through with, let's say, a 1 hour hold. Those will be pushed into the KDS under the future tab. And once that hold time decreases to 15 minutes or below, they will be moved to the prep tab so the kitchen staff can start getting everything ready once the hold clears. Also, if an order or item hold time was initially set to 15 minutes or less, they will be automatically pushed to the prep tab once it's submitted. On the previous version of Aldelo KDS, once an item is bumped and moved into the order history, it can be unbumped and moved back as an active order. Of course, you would need to have the capability to unbump an order if it was bumped by accident, but there was no expiration for the unbump option. What you don't want is for an older order to be accidentally unbumped and have items remade that will go to waste. With the new version, you can define how long an order will be eligible to be unbumped. And 180 minutes is the maximum value that can be set for this. Then there is the printer setup. You'll have your preview printer. And this is a manual push that prints the entire order. Then you'll have your pickup and labels, which will print the individual items. Difference being with the label, it will print on sticky paper. Then you'll have your packing printer that you can turn on a setting that'll print automatically once bumped, and it will print out the order checklist. All right, so do we have any questions? All right, so we can go ahead and move on. I'll hand it over to Lex for the demonstration.
Okay, give me a second. All right, so we're going to start off in the back office. We're going to do a quick refresher. So we're going to go to settings. We're going to just take a look at our device config here. And then from here, we're going to select any device. So in my case, I'm going to select device number 1. And then we're going to click on peripherals. And then we're going to go to KDS integration in the bottom. Then here, just make sure that you enable the kitchen display integration. Make sure that this is turned on, and possibly that you also have suppressed kitchen print on kitchen 1. Say yes there. This will suppress the kitchen from printing to the kitchen. You can say no there if you'd like, but in my case, I have mine set to yes. The other setting that you want to take a look at as well is the products. So I'm going to go to products and then item setup. And then in this case, I'm going to select appetizers, and let's just do calamari. From here, we're going to scroll down and we're going to click on show extended settings. And then we're going to go to print options. Just make sure that you have the print to KDS1 enabled. KDS1 is normally checked off by default, but sometimes you want to disable it or enable it. In our case here, we did enable it for prints to KDS number 2 and prints to KDS number 3. We're now going to go ahead and click save. And the other thing to take a look at is the settings, store config, receipt and ticket config. And you also have kitchen and bar ticket. And then from here, we have print options. You want to make sure your print server is enabled. In my case, we have device number 1 enabled here. Now, if you have enabled kitchen and bar auto hold feature enabled, if you have this set to yes, then the prep tab will not work or will not display. So you want to make sure that you turn this off here. Okay, so on the left side, we do have Aldelo KDS loaded up here. And then on the right side, we have our Aldelo Express application running. Now to activate the Aldelo KDS, we do have a fast activate. You just need to scan that with the QR code. I need to click on the 3 lines on the top left-hand corner right next to Aldelo Express up here. And then from here, I just need to click on Scan App QR. And then from here, I just need to scan the QR code on the iPad here. Okay, and then I do need to set up the device number. So I just need to click on the required. And then from here, normally you want to select a different range. So for example, the 1 to 99 will have the traditional iPads, and then the 100 to 199 range will have our KDS. As you can see here, we have 101 and then 103 selected. So I'm going to select 102 here. And then from here, I'm going to select KDS number 2. Okay, and then I'm going to click activate. All right, so now we're good to go there. The only thing I need to do now is on the Aldelo Express application, I'm going to click on the 3 lines on the top left-hand corner, and I'm going to click on hardware. And then from here, I just need to select the kitchen display. And as you can see here, all of the KDS is selected automatically here. Okay, so I'm going to go to the back office. All right, so I'm going to switch my iPad on the right side here with both KDSs. So on the left, we'll do line cook, and then on the right side, we'll do expediter. Now I can click on the cog here on the right side, or I can tap with 3 fingers anywhere on the screen to bring up the manager code. Now in this case, I'm going to show you line cook with expediter. So I'm going to enable one of them as line cook here. So it's going to give you a warning. It's going to give you a warning here on the KDS. Okay, so we're going to come back and I'm going to place a couple items in here. The KDS on the left, the regular one, and the expediter on the right. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and submit this order through. All right, and then now I'm going to go ahead and place another order in here. As you can see here, I have the first order with calamari on the left, chicken skewer, beef skewer, and chips here. And on the right next to it, I have the new order in here for dine-in. We have coursing here with barbecue pork buns, and right next to it is chips, two skewers, chicken skewers, barbecue skewers, edamame, calamari. And if I submit the order through, for example, the calamari here, I can bump this. This should go to the expediter. And if I bump the entire order will pop up in the expediter as well. Okay, and then on the expediter side, I can go ahead and bump the order, or I can bump one at a time. I can also print. As you can see, there's a print button here. If I click on the order, I can print the entire check or print the items. I can bump the entire order. And if I accidentally bump the order, I can come back to completed. And now I can unbump the order here. Okay. All right, so now I have just the line cook here. As you can see, there's a future order here. So the future order are the coursing. So I put a hold on the items in here. I can release the order. And as you can see, it went to the fire here. Let me go ahead and release the other order. All right, so the future order is now gone on the screen. Now let's come back to the back office. Okay, so we do have check view as well. Before it was called traditional, but now it's changed to check view. And right next to it is consolidate view. Now the consolidate view just consolidates all of the items. So if I click consolidate view, the screen will change, and I can change the item consolidation seconds. So as you can see, the same, as you can see here, the items with same modifier nodes and item nodes will aggregate together if arrived into KDS within. Okay, so I'm going to back out. And this is how the consolidate view looks like. This one has two items, as you can see here. It says there's a bump all or just bump one. If I bump one, then the bump one option will disappear. And now it'll go to my expediter screen. Okay, I'm going to move this back to check view. We also have a fire tab and prep tab here. Now the prep tab will pop up. As you can see, we have the auto arrange order into prep tab when time hold is within 10 minutes in this case. You can change this. You can put as long as 999 minutes. But in this case, I'm going to do 10 minutes. And basically what that means is if I put a hold on an item that's anything less than 10 minutes, it'll show up on the prep tab. Okay. Anything longer than that will go into the future tab. All right, let's go back to the screen. I'm going to go ahead and push some of these items through real quick, and I'm going to place a new order. So I'm going to do a future order, and I'm also going to do a hold on one of the items in here. So now you should see fire tab, prep tab, and future tab here once I submit the items to the kitchen. All right, so we have the fire tab. So this is the first item that needs to be completed first. And then we have the prep tab. This is the next item that's being prepped. Now you can't take a look at this because you might have steak, for example, that needs to be prepped and cooked. So you might need to take a look at that. And then we also have feature order. Features are items put on coursing or any items put on hold within minutes that surpasses the auto arrange order into prep tab when item hold is within, in this case, 10 minutes. And I can release the feature order and it'll go into the fire. So let me go ahead and release the feature order here. Okay, as you can see, the item is now on the screen here. I still have my prep. I can release this if I wanted as well. So let's go ahead and release the hold. And that the prep should move to the fire here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and bump the orders through here again. Let's go back to settings. Now, as you can see here, we did remove the options to select the columns and rows. We now just have the order type text size, order level information text size, and the order detail text size here. As you can see, there's medium, large, and huge as an option. So we'll do large this time here. And what you'll notice is the screen is dynamic. So the first item I'm going to send in is just one item in here. And then I'm going to submit another order that has a bunch of items. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and submit the items too. All right, so what I meant by dynamic is it expands the screen. You no longer need to scroll up and down to make sure that you still have items that you need to complete. So as you can see here, we have the D5 ticket number 11. This is one order here, along with the large Hawaiian pizza that's listed here as well. So as you can see as well, the sub modifiers is also listed here. So the soup with the chicken noodle soup here, and we have the house salad with ranch dressing. So these are sub modifiers here. And I also have a future order here as well. It's being held. So, okay, so I can bump the order and I can go into completed. If I need to unbump an order, I can as well. Now there is a new feature in the unbump order which is the allow order unbump within 30 minutes, for example. So if I delete this, you can see max is 180 minutes. If you try to put 200, it's gonna change it to 180. So let's do 30 minutes here. So that means any items that have been pushed through, the longest it's gonna stay in the system, or the unbump is 180 minutes. We still have the new item add show as new order in KDS. So for example, if you place an order in the system and you come back 10 minutes later, you place another order, it's going to create a new order in here. Otherwise, you can turn this off. If you don't want that, you can turn that off. This is the KDS number here. You can change this if you like. You have the same show alerts, a timer exceeds. You can remove this now if you don't want it to show up, or you can keep it there. And then we do have our print server here as well. Our print server is device number 1. You can also select your printers on the bottom. So just by clicking on it, you need to search the printer options. And you just need to test and connect. Make sure that it tests properly. You'll hear the printer test. And then, yeah, so you just click done when you're done here. And then you also have the theme, which is light or dark. Right now I have mine set for dark theme. You can change it to light. So for example, if you have your user type as expediter, you probably want to change it to light or dark. So it's up to you on your preference there. And then the last part here is diagnostic. If I click on that, it just basically tells me what items are connected to this iPad here. Okay, do we have any questions?
So Gilson is asking about if they can hide the server name. I didn't see any settings on the cloud. So I'm not too sure if we can do that, but I will check on that to see if we can find the answer there. But I didn't see any settings in the kitchen and bar configuration where you can hide the server name. You can hide the customer name. I didn't see anywhere where you can omit the server name on the KDS there. Do we have any other questions? Yeah, Brad, it does look a lot more streamlined, and like I mentioned earlier, it does support the newer features that have been released. So you have to use an iPad. It's only available in the App Store. And yeah, at this time, just the iPads.
Now, Android devices can connect to the KDS, but yes, you do need to have the KDS connected to the iPad.
Yeah, from what he's saying, so you can use Aldelo Express on a tablet or even a Android mobile, and it will send the orders to the KDS.
Okay, do we have any other questions?
I'm going to bust in here and give a comment. This feature set you're seeing on this KDS, these are features that are not found on a lot of KDS systems and only possibly found on some really, really expensive KDS systems. So this is by far and away a huge advantage for anyone who needs a KDS. Take advantage of the different modes we have and these new features. When you sell KDS, it's not just saying to the customer, yeah, we have KDS. You need to go the extra step and show and explain these. That means you're going to have that second iPad in your repertoire to make sure you can actually show this.
So if there are no other questions, actually, let's see here. Yeah, if there's no other questions, we can go ahead and end today. We will see you on the next training, and you guys have a great day.
All right, thanks. Thanks, guys.